Hi, welcome to the Whitey White Guy Show. I'm Whitey, and today I'm going to review the film Deadpool 2, which came out whenever it did, starring Ryan Reynolds, Josh Brolin, other people. Um, Following the events of the first one, Ryan Reynolds replaced Deadpool. If you need more, Google it or go to my first review of the first Deadpool film. I cover that. He's splicing and dicing through the bad guys as he was at the end of throughout the first one. Only one of the bad guys follows him to his house this time, which is kind of like the thing that's going to happen. This is gonna, just like in the first one, the bad guy's going to capture his wife or girlfriend, the person he wants to marry, Vanessa, and then it happens again. So it's like he didn't learn his lesson, and the bad guy gets in and kills his wife, girlfriend, fiance, whichever. Um, it just as they were discussing having kids, so I don't think they're married, but they're going to, and then have a family. Right as they're discussing that, dude, Home Slice shows up and kills the Vanessa. This sends Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, into a funk. He's got depression. He tries to kill himself a bunch of times, realizes he literally can't die. And then Colossus from the X Men comes and saves him and tries to, almost like a Christianity convert, like, come be with us. This is your real calling. And so he does that for 5 minutes. Then you kick over to this kid named Russell, who's a fat kid who sounds like he's from Australia or England. I couldn't tell you. And he's got fire hands, fire fists. He can shoot fireballs, do a lot of damage with fire. He gets locked up into like kind of like a boys' home, boarding school thing for mutant kids, and they're being mistreated. It's implied later that everybody there was a pedophile or something, but they don't go to that point. But it's kind of a nice wink thing. We don't want to say it because this movie is for general audiences or whatever, but it's kind of what's implied. And so he's held Russell's being held captive there. He's being mistreated. Cut back over. Wade Wilson is wearing nice outfits. He's trying to turn his life around because his wife is dead. And then him and the X Men, Colossus, and Teenage Mutant Warhead, and Japanese lady, her gay lover, who's also an X Men, I guess. They go to where Russell has escaped, and he's blowing shit up at his hands. And then when they stop him, Deadpool realizes that they put a collar on his neck that stops all mutant powers. And when that happens, Deadpool realizes that he's being abused, so he starts blasting away at the guys who are abusing him and killing several of them. He gets stopped. He gets the collar. He doesn't have mutant powers. They go to a prison. Um, and this is where it's like things get contradictory in the narrative for me because it's like when you get to the prison that's for mutants, it's like a prison. So they beat the crap out of the kid. They beat the crap out of Deadpool because he doesn't have mutant powers now. And it's like, okay, but then they're all fighting like the security guards, and they're like, see, these, the man is bad. Stop traditional white America and white men. But it's like, but these are violent thugs. Like, shouldn't they be locked up? So is this a bad thing? And then Colossus isn't. No, I'm sorry. Um, Juggernaut. The Juggernaut's in the basement. The kid's gonna free Juggernaut. Turns the world into turmoil in the future. But it's like then Cable comes back from the future because Russell freed the Juggernaut. The future's now a shit show. His wife and child gets killed in the future. He comes back to prevent that from happening to kill Russell while he's in the prison. Everything goes kaflooey, but it's like the story is telling me the theme, the texture of the film is saying this is bad. There's like a whole gay people, minorities comparison, too many minorities in the prison, communism theme. But then it's like it's the Juggernaut bitch. So it's like, shouldn't we be locking those people up if they're as bad as the film itself is demonstrating them to be? Because they beat the shit out of the kid and they beat the shit out of Deadpool. Aren't they violent criminals? They just happen to. So are they locked up because they have mutant powers, or are they locked up because they're criminals? So are they bad guys for locking these people up? And it's like contradictory. It's like, have your cake and eat it too. You know, I need this cool action sequence, but whatever I do, I'm not going to think about the things that are going on in it. So the future turns into a shit show because the Juggernaut gets loose, right? But then doesn't that justify everything that all the bad guys in the logic of the film are doing? Like, this is a metaphor for intolerance. But they had a point for locking up these mutants. They had a point. You're killing people all over the place. Deadpool spent the whole two movies killing people all over the place. His justification is because they're bad guys, but he's a wandering plague of death. Like, and is the world getting better because of what he's doing? Like, you know, the X-Men. So Colossus is willing to look the other way on all these dudes that Deadpool's killed, even when a lot of them were just like basically trained security, like armed security guards. Like they themselves didn't seem no evidence that they themselves did anything wrong. So he's just slicing and dicing through people. And then in the first one, he like slices and dices, and then he's about to kill a guy. He recognizes him. It's like, oh, dude, we met at the thing. I forget what it was exactly. So he opts not to kill him. It's like, okay, but could all those other guys actually have been decent guys, and you just killed them anyway, without knowing whether or not they were directly involved in anything? So it's like the film is saying intolerance bad. The X-Men are an allegory for gay people and minorities, and intolerance is bad, but then they all did horrifying shit that they should be locked up for. So isn't the mankind that locked them up with, in the logic, not the parallel being drawn, but the logic, aren't they kind of right for locking up the Juggernaut and keeping him in the basement? Isn't the world a better place? And then the world goes to shit, so weren't they right? Right? But then it's you kill all these security guards at this prison, but they're protecting society from the Juggernaut, bitch. So it's like, which is it? What are we doing? So the guys you're killing in droves are actually helping the world be a better place. But you're a communist bitch, so you're gonna say communism good because you're a brainwashed communist turd that needs to be flushed on the toilet, Ryan Reynolds. What are we doing? I get it. So it's an argument for and against communism simultaneously. It's like, here's why we want communism because the white men and because slavery and apartheid, and then, but within the film, we're going to demonstrate why what those security guards were doing was the right thing to do. So I don't know. I didn't finish watching the film. It's just fucking awful. And then the other problem too is it's like everything has no consequences. Like nobody dies. Oh, unless you want to. And then because Cable can time travel, then Wade Wilson's wife isn't dead, and then he's not dead. But then his wife and kids in the future are dead. But because he stopped the future from happening, then they'll be okay. So there's no consequences for anything except for the bad guys who are trying to stop the mutants from running amok. But the whole time the mutants are running amok, right? Like as Deadpool slicing and dicing, that's a mutant running amok. You can see the inherent danger in what's going on. So he has his justification for what he's doing, but you can see it from an outside perspective where it's like, dude, you can't be killed. And if you go haywire, which you do like 9 times in these movies, and you just start killing innocents, which you could argue he has been doing, aren't they justified for defending themselves against you? So that's what, again, life imitates art, art imitates life. That's what communism is. It's a bunch of cray crays who think they're justified what they're doing, and they end up killing 30 million people in Russia. You know, the Bolsheviks end up slaughtering white people in Russia because they think they're justified, even though they invaded Russia and took over. So it's like communism's a mess. And because the Bolsheviks run Hollywood, we have to deal with it in all these films. And it makes them really hard to watch and review. So, fuck it. I don't care about these movies. I don't care about Deadpool 1 and 2. I liked the villain in the first one. Like, I liked the actor. He did a good job. He made that interesting. He made part of that film interesting. But the rest of this is contradictory, illogical, borderline psychosis bullshit. And I don't care about it. Looks great. The acting's fine. Josh Brolin's cool. But it's shit. It's pure shit. So that's my review of Deadpool 2. It's in the bowl. Flush it. Fucking high fiber, dirty shit. Fuck communism. Cheers.